Hey there, beautiful humans. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I make videos about digital planning and ways to get creative with your iPad. Today's video, as you may have gathered from the title, is going to be all about my daily Plan With Me setup for the month of May. Now, I will say I haven't actually had to use this yet, and it's the first month in a while that I've felt that way. And who knows, maybe that's because my weekly setup has been so functional, or maybe it's because things are finally starting to return to a normal pace and I'm less overwhelmed. But let's take a look at my weekly setup. So this is what I've got going on for the week. I've been really loving using these events and tasks to just focus on the bigger picture, things that have to be done that day or things that are scheduled, like baseball games for my nephews or video uploads, things like that. So if I have something that needs to be done on a certain day, it goes here, and that's been really, really great. And I usually leave Thursday and Friday open. This way, as Monday and Wednesday kind of fill in, or things get done or don't get done. If I can move it to these 2 days, I will. But because I haven't had a ton of tiny, tedious tasks to do, that's a bit of a tongue twister. Lots of T's. Because I haven't had that much to do other than my bigger picture things that I really want to focus on, this has worked really effectively for me since the beginning of May. But inevitably, there will be days that I'm going to want to use a more in-depth daily planner, so I want to get that set up and I want to share that with you guys in case any of you are following along and would like to do your daily setup with me as well. So with all that in mind, let's go ahead and jump back to today, which is May 10th. And we're actually going to start off a little bit differently than usual. Also, quick note, I did just make a YouTube short explaining my newest process for how I'm planning on using elements when it comes to setting up my planner for my monthly, weekly, and daily spreads. And to me, I just think this is going to be a lot easier. But you can continue to use the method I've been using in previous videos if you prefer. But if you're interested in seeing what has changed for me, feel free to check out that video. It's linked up in the cards and also down in the description below. Okay, now back to the video. If you've watched any of my Plan With Me's before, you probably can already tell how useful this little tip is going to be. Anyway, now that we have this ready to go, let's go ahead and add in our colors. And I haven't shared this yet, but the color palette that we're going to be using is this beautiful vintage rose color palette. This is one of the ones that was included in my Patreon bundle for the month of May. So coming back, let's add in these colors. So one of the nice things about Goodnotes is that you can add extra colors. So I always like to keep black and white, but I'm going to want 4 more colors here to make sure I have all of my colors set in place. So after my black and white, I'm going to come to my next pen color, and I'm just going to hit this little plus sign down here, and we are going to add a hex code. I will put all of the hex codes for this video up here at the top, but the first one is B5, B5, B4. Return, come back to pen color, and then I'm going to tap on this next color here, and I'm going to hit the plus sign, and we're going to do the same. And now I want to add another color up here, so I'm going to hit this plus sign, and then hit this plus sign, and we're just going to do this again, and we're going to add one more. Okay, so now we have all of our colors set up and we are ready to go. So one thing I'm going to do now is take my pen tool. I'm using the ball pen, so there's no pressure sensitivity. And I'm going to use the thinnest pen that I can. And I'm just going to zoom in here, and now I'm going to try to draw as closely to this shape as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to snap to a different size anyway. But now we're just going to grab our shape tool and tap on this, and then you can drag in the edges. And you want to be as close to the size as you can get it without being smaller, because you don't want any of the color underneath showing through. Once you're happy with that, you can take the lasso tool. Make sure that handwriting is on, but nothing else. And let's go ahead and circle this. And we're just going to add this as an element. Now I've started a folder called color changing. We'll get into that in another video. But that's where I'm going to put this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this. I'm going to come to my elements and come to that color changing element folder. And I'm just going to add this in here. Now I'm just going to tap off here, and then I can see here in my recents that it's right there, and I'll just tap it again and tap it again and again and again. And you can kind of just tap it repeatedly until it's no longer transparent. I know this seems really obnoxious. Okay, and that looks pretty good. It's not perfectly opaque, but it'll do the trick. So I'm just going to move this over now. And you can still kind of see through, but that's okay because we're going to add a white element. So now we're going to come back to our digital planning elements. And in a previous video, I've saved this top 3 priorities piece here. So I'm just going to pop this into this space. But if you don't know how to do that, you can just take a screenshot of this, and then you can just crop it and save it as an element for future use. So now that we have this, I'm going to make sure that I have handwriting only turned on. And I'm just going to select this here, and I'm going to copy it. And we're just going to paste this here. And once I'm happy with the positioning, I'm just going to tap off. Still with handwriting only selected, we're going to tap on this and we're going to change the color. And now we can come down to these colors that we programmed before. So let's put it in this beautiful pink color. Now I'm going to come back to my elements and I'm going to add in this white square. And I'm going to tap on my image tool here and tap on this again, and then I can adjust this way using the arrows. And I'm pretty much trying to match the width of the box above because I really want this to be consistent and look like it was made this way. What I'm doing here is a little bit different, and I got this idea after watching one of Ali Abdaal's videos. So if you haven't watched his YouTube channel, I will link this video down below. But he's been working with a CEO coach named Eric Partaker, who has encouraged him to adopt this idea. So I wanted to make sure I credited who needed to be credited here. But basically the idea is you think about these 3 wins in different categories of your life. I believe Eric calls them daily number ones, and Ali calls them daily quests. You can call them whatever you want to, but basically, if you think about these 3 main categories in your life, work, health, and relationships, choose one thing you're going to do that day that improves those things. So I'm just going to grab my cheeky Collegian font here. I'm just going to tap here, and we'll start with health and a colon. Add a new line, work, and a colon, and then relationships, and a colon. Now I am going to select all here by triple tapping and dragging, and I'm going to make this center aligned, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit because that changed my text box size. And now I'm just going to drag in those blue dots and bring this over here now. And let's align this so that these blue dots go on the edges here. And I'm also going to tap this center align button, and you can see here we have line spacing. So you can adjust the line spacing. I also think I want my text to be a little bit bigger, so let me change this first. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to move this up. And let's adjust this line spacing again. And I really want the health part to be close to the top. So I'm just going to play around with this until I like where it's at. I think I want it just a little smaller. Let's adjust that. B103 is my spacing here. And yeah, I think that gives me plenty of room to write and work. And now looking at this, I don't want it center anymore. So I'm just going to select it all, and we're just going to go back to this left aligned. So there's a variety of ways that you can do this, of course. I'm just going to align this with the 1, 2, 3. You could just write HWR if you wanted to. It would probably look a lot better, but I'm content with this. So then obviously you can just come in here at any point and you can just write. But this reminds me, one important thing that you do want to do here is I'm going to take my elements and I'm just going to tap the white area and move it over. And we are going to save these as their own elements for now. So let's tap on our lasso tool, make sure that text boxes, images, and handwriting are all turned on because we have all of those elements here. And let's go ahead and circle this one and add it as an element. And let's add this to our digital planning folder. And let's do the same down here. We're going to tap on this and add this element to our digital planning folder. So now before we move this back, we're actually going to, with our lasso tool, just delete these. Now the reason that this is so important is because we're going to take our elements, grab all of this background, and move this here. And then when we come to our elements and scroll down to the bottom, we have our top 3 priorities, which is already sized and ready to go. We can put that block here, and we can grab this other block that we made and put that where it needs to go. And then if we need to move it at any point, it's all one piece, which is really, really nice. And then also the problem is, let's say that we're writing here and my goal for the day is to take a walk. Then when I go to erase it, it is going to erase this background because that's handwriting. So what we can do instead is once you copy and paste this to the next day, you can just grab your element tool, move this over for a second, erase, and move this back. Or you can also tap on it, cut it, and then paste it again. But it's beautiful, it's all one piece, and it really simplifies that process. Now the cool thing about this is you can always change the colors here. So you can just select this, tap on color. I can make it blue, this nice coppery orange color. I can decide to go with this darker green. So you do the work once and then you can use this in any future spreads that you want. Now let's go ahead and go through that process again, but do it slightly differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to our biggest pen size here, make sure the thickness is all the way up, and we're basically going to do the same thing, but we're going to have slightly more rounded edges. And we're just going to draw this rectangle and hold. Now what you can do is you can grab your eraser tool and erase the center there. Grab our shape tool and we can adjust this until we are happy with it. Then I can add this again and I can move this over so it's basically on top, but then I can grab the shape tool and tap this top one and I can just kind of bring this in and it makes those edges thicker. And I'm mostly doing this because I know that I'm going to cover up this to-do list part, but I don't want there to be any gaps. So I'm just making this thicker to the point that I don't think I'll run into any issues. And then I'm going to come back to my elements and tap on this. And I'm going to add in this rectangle here. And I'm just going to grab my image tool, tap on this, and we're just going to resize until we're happy with the placement. I think that looks pretty even. So I'm going to tap off. I'm going to come back to my elements tool, grab these lines. One of these days I'll save this as an element so I don't have to remake this every time that I go to use it. So I want it to be about half, maybe a little smaller. And if you're worried, you can always move this to the side and this can help sort of guide you at what is reasonable. So I think that looks decent. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to tap and paste, so it pastes it at the same size. And we're just going to kind of line it up. And then I'll bring this element back over. And now it's underneath. And I think I can actually move this over a little. I think that looks good. And now I'll just add my text here. So let's tap over here where I don't have anything and write to-do list. And I'm going to make this D a capital D and this L a capital L. And then we're just going to tap on this and change the size, change it to center aligned, and then come here and size this so that the blue dots reach those edges. And let's make it bigger. And yeah, let me go ahead and just turn on handwriting only. And let me change this color. So I want this to be, let's make it this gray. So now we're going to do something a little bit different than what we usually do. So I'm going to come back to my sticker pack since we haven't used any of these yet. And I'm just going to pick one of these that I like. So I think I want to go with, I like this deeper green. So we're just going to grab our lasso tool, tap here, and we're going to copy this one, come back to our planner and paste it. And then we can tap off of it and tap back on. And we're just going to size this to fill the space. So again, for consistency reasons, we want to try to match these shapes that are in line with each other. And we're just going to size this. And then I'm also trying to make sure it's in line with this bottom here. So we're going to come here to our text tool and we're going to tap here to add a text box. And I'm just going to add a couple little dashes here, these little underscores. And if you can see when I zoom in, because of my cheeky collegian font, the underscores don't actually touch. And so we can triple tap on this and change this to Arial. So this is very seamless. And then what we're going to do is make sure that we triple tap again, hit center align, and let's go ahead and just make this smaller. It doesn't need to be that wide, so just drag in with the blue dots. We can adjust it more perfectly in a second, but let's go ahead and tap text box style and change this to white and square. And now we can kind of drag this up here and just drag out these edges until they're in line with the box above it for consistency purposes. Drag this back down here. And now we have this selected, so I'm just going to copy, tap off to the edge here and paste again, paste again. And I'm actually going to erase these spaces. Triple tap again, copy, paste again, and erase the spaces. And let's just add a few more until I'm happy with the width there. So I think I'll do minus the 1 because it'll match here and match on this edge, and I think that looks really clean. Now let's triple tap one more time to select all of this, copy it, drag over here to get to this edge. We're going to return and paste. Now let's just go ahead and tap off. Tap on this box and let's adjust the paragraph here by adjusting the line spacing. And let's say I've got it at about 10 points. This can be really finicky, so just kind of play around with it and try not to get too frustrated. But once I'm happy with that line spacing, I'm just going to come back here and I'm going to come over to this end and just kind of return and paste, return and paste. And I'm happy with the look of that, but I do think this white is just far too bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot here. I'm going to tap on this image, and then what we're going to do is tap on this little circle that has the rainbow around it. And then we're going to, we don't want to display the P3 hex code, we want to display the sRGB. And I'm just going to drag this eyedropper over here. And so it's F7, F7, F7. So you can just throw this away. We don't need this anymore. I'm going to delete this screenshot. So now while we're in our text tool, we're just going to tap on this one, tap on this text box style and go to advance. And now we need the background color. So we're going to tap on this. And pure white is FF, FF, FF. But like I said, it's F7, F7, F7 is the background color here. So we're just going to change that and come back. And now it doesn't stand out as being so obnoxiously bright. It's just actually the right color that matches the background. Now, I do think that maybe what I want to do is come in here at the bottom, and I think I want to delete this line, but then come up to the top and add a line. And I think that looks much nicer. So now this gives me a space for my thoughts, a place to brain dump, and look, you've just kind of custom made the whole thing by yourself. But I do want to make it a little cute, so let's come back to my sticker pack. We haven't done anything cute yet. I feel like I'm just showing a ton of hacks. But let's go ahead and grab our lasso tool, make sure we have images turned on, and let's do this cute little flower bunch. And I'm going to copy this and paste it. And maybe we'll do a couple. Let me see how that looks. Cute, that's cute. And then I'm gonna add some washi tape. So let's grab this one. I'm gonna copy it and come back. And we're gonna paste it. I'm just gonna stick that there. So the nice thing about doing it this way is that there literally is no handwriting anywhere here. So if you are writing your notes, you can erase and nothing is affected. But there you go. So we have a nice little brain dump space. Okay, so let's go ahead and come back to our sticker pack and let's start cutifying this thing. So I want to use this cute camper, so I'm just going to grab this and copy it. And we're going to paste this here. I want to come to my sticker pack and grab one of these stars. So I think I'll grab the pink one. I'm going to copy this, come back to my planner, and today is the 10th, so I'm just going to paste. Put this over the 10th. I think that's cute. Let's come back, maybe grab these mountains, copy these and paste them here. And do another small one with a cute little moon. And then maybe I'll take my pen here in that gray color and let's see this size. Yeah, that's okay. So I'm just going to draw some dots that look like stars. Let's grab the sticker here. And let's paste this onto our priorities. Tap off and then copy so we can keep them the same size. And let's take this and we're going to copy this one. And since this one's a repeating pattern, we can paste it. And we can use our image tool to tap this and resize this and get it to a height that we're pretty happy with. So I think this is good. And we're going to tap on this, and I'm actually just going to crop it ever so slightly using the rectangle tool. So we're just going to bring this top down and this bottom up only a little bit. And then we're going to bring this inner part in as well. And this is totally fine because this is a repeating pattern. And we're just going to size this again one more time. And it just gives us some really, really clean edges. We're going to tap off. And we're going to copy this and come back over here so we can paste it at the same size. And then we're just going to try to line up these edges here and then also these lines here. So just gonna do that. Looks pretty good, but maybe it needs to come down a little bit and over a little. Okay. You can kind of see how that finally lines up really nicely diagonally. It's not perfect, but it's dang near perfect. Okay, and I'm just gonna add one more. So I'm just gonna paste this, and then I probably need like maybe just a couple of these, so maybe to this pink one. So I'm gonna tap off and tap back on, tap crop, and we're just gonna bring in maybe to here. And we're just gonna drag this over then, match this up. Zoom in and do the best that we can. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to grab my elements and move this down a little for a second. Grab this, and I'm just going to resize it just a tiny bit so that it fits nicely here within these sort of guides that I've set. Come back to my elements and bring this back up. Just gonna tap off, and it's beautiful. So now the last thing I'm gonna do is just write May in here, and I'm actually going to just write that in a thick pen, and maybe I will use my brush pen. I'm gonna do this in white, just write May 10th. And then I'm just going to turn on handwriting only, and I'm gonna center this. Excellent, yay, it's all finished. But my intentions for this is really, like I said, my weekly planner has been doing an excellent job for me so far this month. But this at least allows me to focus on getting one win in the area of health, work, and relationships every single day. I have the option of a to-do list if I need it. And then really the main benefit for me, I think, is going to be having my dedicated brain dump space. And then also this grid I'm keeping here for a variety of reasons, because on any given day, I could have ideas for YouTube shorts or YouTube videos, other things that I want to create or things that I want to do with this channel, with my business, shopping lists. So I'm just leaving this grid here for that reason. It could be literally any list that I want to make, I can put here. But on the whole, this is a pretty simple setup. Nothing too crazy, but obviously lots of little tips and tricks here in regards to elements and changing colors of things and saving things for the future. So I hope that that was helpful. I think that was the real value in this video. Let me know if you learned something from this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, you're amazing. I'm so appreciative. And if you want access to any of these stickers or to be part of the decision-making process, definitely check out my Patreon memberships. They are linked down in the description below. Anyway, that's all for now, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!